What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah. Tonight, I am joined by Joel.
Heyo.
Dave.
Hey.
The Ranger. And Papa James.
What's up?
Oh, we're not doing the Ranger.
Never have, never will.
We didn't really set a precedence for that, so...
I don't know.
I feel like I'm more and more off-center every week.
Everybody leave a comment if you'd like me to only introduce Dave as the Ranger from now on.
Remember that time that somebody in my comment section called me a bitch pig? Wait, what?
Well, podcast is off to a good start. Dave, why don't you... It's now time for the comment of the week.
I don't have one ready yet. Don't drop that yet. Don't drop
Okay.
it yet. Just carry on.
All right.
Yeah, someone apparently thinks that federal park rangers are the same level as like tyrannical cops. I guess it just seems like a weird place to put a whole bunch of anger.
All right, we have a great show for you today. Let me see what we're talking about. Yeah, it'll be great. We're back. As a reminder, the podcast is back, kinda. We do it when we want to. Thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. We just got $3.40 this month. That has partially offset the cost of hosting the audio. We're happy everybody's here. You can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com to be a part of the
Jeremiah
show.
in debt. Keep Jeremiah in debt.
Or you can tweet at casualshenanigans. There's no other way to get in touch with us. All right. As a part of the housekeeping notes this week, we have nothing special coming up. We're not doing anything out of the ordinary, but Dave does want to talk about his internet. Dave, tell us about
Just to follow up, because we
Okay.
had a few people write in about my internet woes. Apparently, I'm one of the few people that are dealing with caps. It's like me and Edgar, like the only ones out there. I get
what?
the unlimited internet for a month. So I was dealing with the internet caps. And it was the correct decision because I paid, I think it was $15 less for unlimited internet the month that I did it than I did for the month with the overages. Like all the fees added up pretty quickly. But it sucked just because my internet had finally gotten to be a good value like 2 years ago. And now I'm paying $115 a month again. I'm back up there.
Now,
But carry on.
your ISP, they're the ones building out the fiber network in the area. Have they told you whether or not they're building out the fiber in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, so here's a few updates. I found out, first of all, that the same company, it's like a side company. They're building fiber in my area, not available whatsoever. Edgar got a call from an actual person about his fiber alert. He got all excited thinking it was his house out here kind of near me. And it wasn't. It was his rental house, like all the way across town. So crushing disappointment for Edgar there. Then I found out last week that apparently about 20 feet behind this wall, there's an industrial fiber trunk that goes through my street. I mean, it's right there. And a church down the street has been trying to plug into it for like 10 years now, and they will not do anything with it.
Is it
But
commercial?
it's like right there. Like I could touch it. It's so close. It's 20 feet away. And the final part of all that was, in true deal slinging Dave fashion, I ran the numbers after my 1 month of unlimited internet. The full on, like I'm doing the math on the screen. All the numbers are sliding by. The month that I used the unlimited, the data that I used was like...
He went back down. Look at his face.
No, I went sideways and then up.
What?
In more ways than one, kind of. So it turns out the most that I averaged the last few months was like 1.5 terabytes. And if I up my internet speed and then canceled the unlimited, that higher tier has a higher cap too. So now I'm on 300 megabit, which has a 1.75 terabyte limit, which I should actually be okay with.
Okay.
As long as the numbers hold for the last few months. So I'm like, it's the exact same amount as paying for the unlimited on the slower speed, but now I have probably the fastest internet I've ever had, I guess. I have 300 megabit. It just sucks that with cable, you're never going to get good upload speeds. Like I'm still at 11 up.
Yeah,
Sucks, but
your ISP is building out the fiber network in our neighborhood. We got something a couple months ago saying it's coming, and then we got something last week that said we're about to start construction.
I'm super jealous.
Sorry.
It sucks. If anybody wants to do some kind of like casual shenanigans, like fiber heist, we'll cut into the main line.
It's just a glass nanowire cable. How hard could it be to tap into?
Yeah. Yeah. That hurt to
sucks.
find out that
Yeah.
it's been there the whole time.
At least they're giving you higher caps on the faster internet tiers, because like with Comcast, I think it's the same cap for everybody, and I had to go down from gigabit to 300 megabit in order to get unlimited. They won't let you have unlimited and gigabit.
Yeah, that sucks. That's dumb. Yeah,
All right.
I'm happy about the speed upgrade though. I was downloading some updates last night at like 40 megabytes a second, and it was kind of crazy to watch it like making my drive spin fast writing the download. I like that.
Oh, speaking of which, you got more cap now. Can I bring my second server to your house and do a test sync from server to server?
You gonna pay for the overages?
I'm going to sync like 1 gig of data.
You like I'm asking about you paying for overages to sync things that will eventually help me.
Yes. I'll just need to be able to hardwire it in.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Our main topic tonight, I am not prepared for, but Dave and Joel are, I think. So
I need so much talking already.
oh,
Don't
sorry.
let me in that. I'm frantically Googling right now.
My
Guys,
vague topic is not helpful either. It just says leaks and gamer rage.
I figured Dave was just telling us like the content of his like next 5 Battlefield videos.
Gamer rage.
Honestly, this is more of like a therapy session, I think, for Dave. This is not really a topic about leaked games. It's more of Dave's annoyed and hopes Battlefield 6 is not going to be shit.
Well, that's been true since 2018.
That's been true since 2013.
Yeah.
2014 was Battlefield 4.
It's been true since 2014 and a half.
Battlefield 4 was so
you were very
bad.
close.
Wait, was it 2014? Because I was still in the camper when it came out.
Wait. No, I think you're right, Jeremiah. I think it was 2013.
Yeah, because I moved out of the camper in
Yeah.
May of 2014, and I played a lot of Battlefield. I played all the Battlefield
Wow.
4 that I played was in the camper.
Battlefield 4, October 29,
Battlefield 4 is
2013.
that is old. Holy crap.
Yeah.
All right, so Dave, yeah, what's your topic? Gamer
Yeah,
leaks
so-
and rage.
I don't want it to be just about Battlefield, but that's what spurred the discussion. I know that you guys have some Star Wars ranting that I'm sure is going to get fit in there somewhere.
Please no, please no.
And then take us off topic for forever. But we've known that Battlefield 2021 is coming out this October. That's pretty set in stone. It's in their like quarterly reports. But the last several Battlefield titles have been announced in May. Battlefield 1 was like the first week of May in 2016. Yeah. Battlefield 5 was the third week of May in 2018. And then Battlefield 3 and 4 were like announced in I think January and February. So everyone's been assuming it's going to be like quarter one, right? We'll have a trailer, the announcement, all the usual Battlefield stuff. Well, the
But
problem is
this is like 1 year later though, right? Because I mean, I thought they said they were going to take some more time on this one.
that's correct. This is a 3-year dev cycle.
Yeah.
Although I believe Battlefield 1 was also a 3-year dev cycle after Battlefield 4. If you don't count Hardline, because no one counts Hardline. I don't even know when that came out. Who knows?
It was like
2015?
2015, yeah.
It was like a Battlefield 0.5. But yeah, so the issue is that there have been lots of leaks, and I haven't been covering any of them because none of them seem trustworthy whatsoever. There are several people who claim to have insider information, and it seems like fragments of their leaks are correct, but the problem that we're having is these little fragments of leaks, like, oh, here's one scene I've seen from the trailer, or this like little bit of audio I've seen from the Battlefield 6 trailer. They're then extrapolating things from that, like the trailer is going to launch on May 11th, and everyone's going to get to see the new game finally and stuff like that. And then you have a secondary problem where DICE and EA cannot help themselves, and they love their memes about soon and how delayed all their stuff always is. So on April 22nd, again, right before the usual Battlefield announcement window, on April 22nd, all of the Battlefield social media changed all their logos, and then they posted tweets and posts that said, we'll have more information about the new Battlefield game soon. Now, what does that say to you guys when you hear the word soon from a dev about an upcoming game announcement? Like,
I
when they
assume
say
this
soon,
could be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Within the month.
So apparently to DICE and EA, that means within the next 2 months. Because as this week was coming along, people even figured out from the leaks, supposedly, what the trailer launch song was going to be. And there was a post from the artist that's supposedly doing the song for the launch trailer saying, 2 trailers with our music launching this week. So everyone's like, it's happening. It's launching this week. And then Battlefield post on Monday about mid-afternoon Eastern Standard Time that said, what rhymes with soon? June and boom. That was their tweet to announce that the announcement had been delayed, I guess, or at least wasn't happening till June, one or the other. And again, they just can't help the memeing. Even if there had been a last minute 11th hour delay, there's a lot of expectation for this title. That was a very odd way to announce this delay. It also looks like EA Play is going to be in July, late July this year instead of early June, and EA is claiming that's because they can make their own schedule because everything is digital this year. So here's where I'm thinking, was that the plan from the beginning? Was there a last-minute delay for the Battlefield announcement? Regardless, it doesn't seem to be handled well by EA and DICE, but a big problem, like I was talking about earlier, are these leakers who are trying to say all these exact dates and stuff with confidence. And people are taking them at their word. Some of these guys like do live streams, like, oh, we're watching for the trailer to go live and stuff like that. And of course, one of the main Battlefield 6 devs, after the cryptic tweet this week about June and boom, had to then post kind of on his own personal Twitter account. It's like, yeah, guys, we've got some great things for you in June. We're just asking for you to please be patient. He's like, people are already calling for my resignation, for me to be fired. They're sending me death threats already. And this is, again, all based off of nothing official for as far as exact dates go. Just the fact that you have vague sources claiming official dates and things that are happening. And then DICE shooting themselves in the foot by tweeting vague things like soon in the middle of April. That's not helping as well, but it's kind of like a perfect storm of just everyone's now angry and frustrated. And this is just not what Battlefield needs after that horrible initial trailer for Battlefield 5. Like, everyone's so excited right now just to see anything, and it just seems like it's already a train wreck.
So I think the first problem is it's just the whole hype circle of people trying to desperately make content when they don't have anything original to add. So they just get on the train of like all the rumors about Battlefield 6. They can probably make 10 or 15 videos off of that while they're playing some other game talking about it. And then they're going to like break down the rumors that other people are talking about, then getting some petty internet squabbles about it. And then when the trailer comes out, they'll obsessively like talk over that for a while, and then they'll get mad there's not enough information. Like, that's just like leeches on society and social media trying to desperately generate things when they don't have anything original they can do. I think for EA, it's stupid to talk about the game because they've had a very rocky road with the last couple Battlefields. And the best thing they could do is shut up until they're ready to show something that they're confident is going to impress people, and then just drop it. And if they did that, people would be blown away. That's my opinion.
That's the podcast, people.
Thanks for making sure follow our Twitter, our YouTube handle, our
YouTube handle.
I was going to mention,
is that a Twitter handle or
a Twitter handle? I think.
No.
Yeah.
This is hot coffee. I can't spit it, or hot tea. I can't spit it out.
Okay.
I was also hearing about there was a guy who was just talking about setting expectations and leaks that come from outside the dev teams. There was a guy who was pulling stuff out of the Apex update files, and Apex is what EA is riding on right now. It's doing super well for them. But there was a guy who was pulling things out of the update files and leaking like new skins, heroes, updates, map changes, all this stuff. And it got to a point that when things didn't show up as expected, because this got leaked 3 months ago, where is it? Like, well, it was super early, wasn't supposed to be even known about yet. EA finally just asked in a completely friendly, like for once non-lawyer way, like, hey man, like this is really messing with the dev team because all of our hard work is, first of all, like we don't get to announce anything ourselves. Like, it all is announced by third parties. And then we have no control over expectations because people make all these assumptions off of this early look at stuff.
I mean, you imagine all the stuff that went like in the Valve like source engine, like all the rumors that came out of just like someone looking at the code and seeing something that had the number 3 in it. It's like, holy crap.
For years, for a decade.
For a decade.
almost became a meme. That was like an internet joke to the point where if they actually announced it, I don't know if people would believe it. And at this point, we should just assume Half-Life Alyx is Half-Life 3. Is that?
No, it's not, technically not. It's not a continuation.
But yeah, I mean, personally, like, I'm not excited for Battlefield. I'm not saying I'm not willing to play it, but like, I have no reason to be excited about another Battlefield game unless they show something that makes it seem like they're actually learning and growing, and it's going to be a significantly different game, because the cycle with Battlefield for the last like 3 or 4 has been the same. Start out with something fairly promising, then churn out a bunch of bad maps, then delay things, and then start playing the ping pong ditch method of balancing the game, where we go into this ditch, then we go into this ditch, then we go into this ditch.
Jeez.
And for all the people complaining,
on point there.
yeah, for all the complaining people do about Call of Duty imbalance changes, I play Warzone with my brothers all the time. I don't really get invited by Dave and Joel. I don't know what's going on with that, but I play with my brothers all the time, and I don't really notice the balance changes that much. Like occasionally you can feel, oh, this feels like it's hitting a little harder or a little less or something, but it doesn't feel that bad, as opposed to Battlefield, where it's like, oh, what doesn't work this week?
Yeah, it's like, hey, welcome to a brand new game. Remember you played it like a month ago and now you don't know how to play it, you know? Ridiculous.
And that's them trying to like desperately try to appeal to people who don't care anyway. Like, why are you trying to make the internet so happy? They're just going to crap over everything you do and rip it apart. And like the vocal minority is going to do that. A lot of other people are just going to play the game. So why are they trying to appease the vocal minority? Just sit on the game till it's ready to launch. Or not ready to launch, but like what we need out of the next Battlefield is not a 6-month hype cycle. It needs to be a good, decent game that comes out 1 month after it gets announced. And that is like their best possible shot at people being pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. And I know that's my entire train of thought. That was it. Choo choo off the tracks.
I mean, I'm glad it's going modern, but I don't have a great deal of faith in how it'll launch in its whole state. And I'm guessing the Firestorm equivalent is going to be down the road and
I think so.
Probably half baked and then forgotten, just like it was the first time.
Did you hear, James, that Firestorm is apparently active on PlayStation again because it went free to play?
That's what I was wondering, because
yeah.
Like I said, we should start playing.
I mean, they probably should just launch the Firestorm part first. That's what people want to play right now.
The current leaks, again, like a giant gallon of salt with this, say that it's going to be
Are you taking it with a grain of salt, or are you salty?
Yes, to both.
He's salty, sitting in a bathtub.
I'm made of salt, consuming the salt. It's going to launch later again, according to the leaks. But I was going to say, I will give EA credit for this. I think that their strategy for the leaks themselves has been on point, and that's that they are ignoring them completely. Zero acknowledgement of any of them. And what was funny was a bunch of these leakers were saying, oh, we've seen the trailer. I've got a copy of it right here. If EA doesn't launch it on May 11th, I'm just going to release the trailer. Everybody's going to see it anyway. You know what? Screw these guys. I'm going to leak it right then. And then nothing happened at all. Nothing happened at all. So that was hilarious to see. Black bag.
Just found it.
Their handling of the leaks themselves, I think, has been great by just not giving them credit whatsoever. I really wish they had just not posted those tweets and gotten people so excited for no reason.
Hey, people need to understand there's some companies that can get away with this. CDPR, even after everything that's happened with Cyberpunk, all they have to do is post a W4 meme and like people are going to be salivating over themselves. Rockstar, all they need to do is post some generically Grand Theft Auto-ish cartoon drawings or something. And like, and they could say like, and the announcement will be 1 year from now. And people will be like, that works. That's fine. I'm good with that. Like, they can do whatever they want because people trust that they're going to put out a good product. And honestly, even after the Cyberpunk stuff, I think people will trust when they see a Witcher 3 or Witcher 4 hype, they're going to be super excited about it too. There's plenty of games that can, or plenty of companies that can do that. EA is not one of those companies anymore. I don't think Ubisoft's one of those companies anymore. There's lots of companies that can't, but they just, I don't get the whole hype cycle. I realize they need to get people interested about the game, but I think the internet just moves too fast. Like, there's no point in trying to make your social media strategy be ahead of the internet, because they're going to be moving quicker than you can, and there's a lot more of them. And even if they don't even care about your thing and they just want to dick you over, they'll do it and have fun.
Yeah, I mean,
and like
I think
you said,
the company is
sorry,
so
Joel,
big, you know. I was gonna say, with a company so big like that are making, you know, overlapping games and stuff like that, you're bound to find somebody who's gonna say something to someone, you know, as opposed to a smaller, you know, company that can kind of stay under the radar of stuff. And the fact that EA's had such a track record of crap when it comes to a lot of their games and how they release them and their patches and all that kind of stuff, so it doesn't help. But yeah, I mean, it's funny, like, I mean, some of the stuff I'll get. I got a comment a couple weeks ago about Norman, and it's just someone that says, "You're just trying to make a quick buck," and it's like, it's almost sad because it's like, you know, it's like I don't even like where. I almost congratulate the person because I'm like, where did you even come up with that? I'm like, I would like to know, where did you perceive this? You know, like from, like you know what I mean? It's like, what? Okay, why would you even think it's quick? I don't even know how you can come up with that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm totally fine with people like, this sucks, the worst thing ever. You know, whatever. They hate the movie, but it's like, you're making a quick buck. Like, what are you talking about? Like, do I know you? I was like,
you're like,
my back is just Jeremiah, Dave. You guys secretly post. Like, it's just like so weird, you know.
I never thought about secretly posting, but I think I might start now.
Yeah, Joel, I was trying to think of the right way to work this joke in this whole conversation, but like, Joel knows you don't announce, hey, it's almost done, guys. I'll have something to show you really soon. Just give me some Kickstarter money. 6 months, baby. In and out. In and out. You wait to talk about it. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, it's funny you said that. I've had so many people that have actually been backers from Kickstarter that have said, I'm so glad I backed this. I can't wait to back your next project. And I was like, dude, that was like, I mean, they backed in 2014. Like, I'm just amazed that they're still alive and
like,
around.
When I finally get my
start, moved to different emails, and they're like, yeah, I can't wait for the next one. They're like, the guy said, I'm gonna definitely donate more the next time. I'm just like, wow.
When I finally get my Star Citizen rewards for being a backer in 2011, I'm just kidding. It could already be released and I wouldn't even know. I've just stopped caring so long ago, and that was only 2 years before Norman's Kickstarter.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sad. I think it's with I was over at Joy's sister's house and their kids. They love Fortnite, right? I was like, there's nothing wrong with it. Whatever. Fortnite. I think it's a decent game. The parts that I don't like about that, and I think you know, contribute to a lot of this is, you know, they're just so used to getting everything fast. You know what I mean? And to me, it's like, I mean, I grew up, you know, I had the NES, Super NES, all that kind of stuff. You know, I'd play games and stuff like that, and my dad just couldn't understand games for the life of it, like at all. Like, my mom was always kind of interested; she always liked it, but like couldn't understand games. And yet I would play things like chess or other slower games, or you know, what's that one like war kind of game? I can't think of. It's a board game. Risk, yeah. Like I love that kind of stuff, you know. But where was I? Dang it, where was I going with this?
Your dad didn't like it. Your mom does. Your nieces and nephews play Fortnite.
Oh yeah, sorry, Fortnite. I think like what almost amazes me is how interested these kids are into when like a new character comes out, but like their whole backstory and the comic book and everything. And I'm like, man, that's so much work for these companies, dude. But I'm like, does that really work? And I was like, is that like Star Wars action figures or like playing cards to me when I was a kid? Like, I'm trying to think, like, I mean, I never got into Pokemon. Have you seen how much money they make? I'm like, yeah, exactly. Well,
it's working.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I mean, like, it almost amazes me because I mean, like, as a kid, I'm into the gameplay and everything like that, you know. And it's like they're like so deeply invested in the story of a battle royale character, you know. Like, I'm just like, wow, it's very different. But you know, with the loot boxes and all that kind of stuff, or just the constant skin changes and like they need to like get the next one, like they need to. And I know people that are like, oh yeah, I've spent probably over $1,000 on Fortnite skins and stuff, like for my kids and stuff. And I'm just like, whoa. So I just wonder how much with that, you know, and with, I mean, again, games are more popular now. So there's more games coming out as opposed to, I mean, think of us when we were kids, like we didn't have the internet where it was like, hey, this game's coming out. You would know about it if you went into a Toys R Us. You know what I mean?
You'd be sharing a game.
They had magazines. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Super Mario 3 is coming out, and it's going to be the game you play for the next 4 years.
You'd go on IGN when you're at the library on their good internet and download the 240p Burnout 3 trailer Put it on your thumb drive and bring it home so you could watch it later.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think having, even doing this podcast and even my goofy YouTube crap I did ages ago, I think it really helped with that kind of culture of just like, it is what it is. I'm like, it's amazing, like the insane hatred, like that. Like I've had people that like want me to die. They hate my movie so bad, and it's
but that's the thing. They don't want you to die. They just they all they know how to do is hyperbolic nonsense. So they can't just say, "Hey, I disagreed with it." Like it has to go. It's either I loved this so much I squealed like a little child, and it makes my tendies crumble or whatever when I watch your movie.
Makes my tendies crumble.
What?
I love that.
What did you just say? Don't say it again. Don't say it again.
Joel, you know what tendies are, right?
No, what? Don't, dude. This is a children's podcast. Keep your whatever
Children
the hell
like
you
tendies.
Yeah,
No,
Joel,
what
you
are you
Children play
love
Fortnite.
chicken tendies.
Yeah.
Don't. I
And Joel,
hate that word.
Joel, do you know what you dip your tendies in?
Dave,
You get yourself.
I'm pissed. Shut the hell up about tendies. What the?
You dip your tendies in the honey mussy.
You are idiots. Freaking shut the hell up.
Honey mussy, Joel. Honey mussy.
Oh. Like, I'm like, I want to slam this laptop. It's so stupid.
Right. So anyway, no, but people they just have to be they just have to be hyperbolic. They're just like, they don't really care. They're sitting behind their, computer screen. They just want to get a reaction out of somebody because they hate themselves. And so you're the person they've directed it towards. Like, that's all it is. But what it doesn't surprise me that 14-year-olds do that, because 14-year-olds are morons. What really is sad, I guess, and I'm like, I feel like I'm going when I say this, but people who have YouTube channels who are like 35, and that's what their channel is based on, is like the drama hype nonsense thing. It's like, you've been a grown adult for a long time and you're still getting entertained by this. Like, how do you live? It's like how do you live with yourself? Like, all you're doing is just being a leech onto people who actually enjoy games or want to talk about them in a critical way. Because you're trying to get eyeballs on you. It's like, it's tabloid journalism.
There you go. That's 100% the key issue, Jeremiah.
It's almost worse than tabloid journalism because, I mean, they often cite sources that may or may not even exist. And you have to wonder, like, if people are doing it out of their own ignorance, like they're believing someone else that's caught their ear, or if they're literally just flat out lying, knowing that people are going to follow up. Because, there are people that on YouTube that just keep making videos that literally just lie week after week after week, and people keep buying into it, and it's like, you have no soul.
I think a lot of it
maybe that's it. I was just saying, maybe that's it, James. Maybe it's just that the barrier of entry is so low, and then the possibility of reward is so high. Like for every
I mean, that's why you got like remember those crazy videos of people just like licking ice cream or crap, just stupid. It's like, again, it's like, haha, like, I'm not gonna get in trouble because I made a silly YouTube video, and
prison.
I mean, and like part of them are kind of funny to watch because it's like, because it's things you wouldn't do, or maybe like even how dangerous they are or something like that, or stupid they are. But it's like, I mean, you get such a quick buck. Stop it.
I know when we were like getting excited about Star Wars, like there are a lot of articles out there about, this person's going to be in the film and this is where this is going. And, you're excited about where it's going. So you want to follow it and have a little bit of hope. And then when the final thing comes out, like, it's nothing like you even imagined. The film might come out or a game might come out or whatever, anything that leads you to build up expectations that are just unrealistic. And it kind of, the build up to it is a fun experience, but when it's over, like, it's completely ruined your experience.
It's a lot of things. People just they want to be a part of something. So there's a couple people who are being manipulative and they're just in it for a buck. Something, I think there's some parallels between this and the current super stonk craze going on right now. I'm sorry, Joel, this is a big night for you.
Diamond hands.
I'm doing a lot of Googling tonight.
Joel, you paper handed or you diamond handed? Ape together strong. Anyway, so So like this year, there's been a lot of pump and dumps on stocks. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Joel's poor face, hating everything. There's been a lot of pump and dumps on some stocks this year, and there's been the whole craze with GameStop, and then people went straight from that into like there's such a fervor around crypto coins right now, and not like the big crypto coins, but like all the little ones that are going up by 10,000% or something. And I've been following a lot of the subreddits for these because I think it's fascinating in a kind of sad way. There's a few people who are definitely stirring the pot and trying to convince a bunch of people that this is a really awesome thing you should get on board with to drive the stock higher, because they're probably a bag holder who, they bought into it. They're not in the money yet. Like they bought in at a higher amount and the stock's been going up and down, or the crypto's been going up and down. They need to get a bunch of idiots on board with how awesome it is to pump it so they can pull the money out and leave everybody else holding the bag. Yep. And so there's a lot of like young, impressionable idiots on there, like caught up in the whole like Doge, do only good every day. This stock's going to the moon. People post on the GameStop things about like, I've never gotten ahead in life. I'm going to, I'm buying some of this every paycheck. I'm going to, pay my mom's house off or something. And like, you feel bad for them if they're telling the truth, because like, you're just in the hype cycle where you think this is a good idea, or this isn't literally just gambling. It's literally gambling. And, you're believing people, or you're going along with a bunch of people that there are people smarter than you in here that are just preying off of your attention and your gullibility so they can make money, and they'll know when to get out and leave you holding it. And that's all these YouTube channels. That's all I can think about is they don't care. They don't care when Battlefield's coming out. They don't care what the trailer's going to be good. All they care about is, does it bleed, and can I hit it with a stick right now? And if I can hit it with a stick, I'm going to do that until the stick breaks, and then I'm going to see what else I can hit. Like, that's all they care about. And Battlefield's like the bystander. And sorry, Battlefield's the bystander. It's all the developers, the hundreds of developers that are in a borderline abusive industry, making games for all of us to play, working crazy hours, and they're getting death threats because somebody interpreted something somewhere to mean that some info was going to leak that has nothing to do with them, has everything to do with the marketing department, and they're getting death threats because people on the internet are children. Social media was a mistake.
Old man rants.
But you can follow us at Casual Shenanigans.
I love hearing Jeremiah like this, because even like 6 years ago when we had the podcast, you would not have said that. Our little boy's growing up.
Wait, which part wouldn't I have said?
Just about social media. Like we've had this chat before earlier on. Shane, you should look it up since you're the researcher. But I swear we've had this before, and I swear Jeremiah has argued the opposite way. So it's wonderful to see you come back around on the side.
I mean, there are good things about a lot of this stuff.
I know.
Okay, yeah. But social media was a mistake.
If there was a button to just go get rid of this shit, I would hit it so fast.
Joel, I think you would enjoy this meme. You enjoy memes. You don't like to talk about it, but you do. The meme of where it's like, I enjoy
joke images, yes.
Okay. Where it was like, imagine, or the thing where somebody wakes you up and they're like, hey, coronavirus, stock market crash, like unrest in the streets. What are you talking about? It's 2009. Come on, buddy. Modern Warfare 2 just came out. Like, we got the day off of school. Let's go sit down and play. And you're like, it was all a dream. It was all a dream.
Let's play Call of Duty.
That's what I want it to be. So it's like, it's 2010. I'm just graduating from college. Life can be anything. Wait, set up a Bitcoin miner.
There's still time.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about with the topic, or we spent our anger?
No, I think just to circle it back around one more time, I think, Jeremiah, you've landed on the main point of it, and that's that the reality is that none of these leaks, their accuracy does not matter whatsoever, because these people are in it for the money. It's a quick buck. The money and the attention. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's thankfully most of the time that's a losing strategy in the long run. I remember that there were some leakers for previous Battlefield titles who their channel just their channel just did not survive, because once the actual info was up there, no one cared anymore, and that was all they had to offer. Yeah.
But I feel like people that do that find ways to still stay relevant no matter what.
Oh, they'll leech onto the next thing. I don't want to name any names on here.
Yeah, I've got some in mind, but yeah, I watched them. I watched them evolve. Well, Dave you're not exactly a leaker. You're more of a shill. A corporate chill.
Only if you use hashtag
Daisy.
Ranger Dave 2021.
Yep. It's now time for What Are You Playing This Week? Part of the podcast where we talk about what we're playing this week. And I actually want to start with James, if that's okay, because I see an update on this list that I'm very interested in. James, what have you been playing on this week?
So I haven't gotten to play that much, but we did finally pick up a PS5.
How'd you do it? Please tell me.
So I found that the best way to do it was to watch Target, because Target doesn't just do online orders and then, as soon as it's done, it's done. They'll list all the stores that have it in stock locally. Mm-hmm. And so you can pick that store and try to do in-store pickup. And like I had one in the cart and then that store went out. So I went to the next one down the list and was able to get it pretty quickly. It was actually the second time I had one in the cart ready to go. The first time we were going out of town for like 10 days and I didn't want that to just be sitting in a store and have to be returned. So this time I just happened to be up with the kids early in the morning, getting them ready for school and stuff. And I decided to check and saw it was in stock. And I ran upstairs to my wife. I was like, hey, can we buy it? She said, sure. Not begrudgingly at all.
How early in the morning was it?
It was like 7:30.
Yeah. So I'm shaking my wife awake to ask her if I could buy a video game console. She's going to be like, what are you, a child?
I mean, to be fair, there are 4 kids to share it with, so.
That's true. Yeah, that's probably the problem.
That's your wonderful excuse.
Yes.
It works every time.
So, yeah, it went and picked it up. Actually, she went and picked it up because that was when I was still feeling really bad with COVID. I still had a fever. She had actually kind of recovered a little bit, mm-hmm. Not completely, but she said when she went in there, she felt like she was being eyed by everybody, trying to carry it to the parking lot, like she was going to get jumped.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So.
Still haven't.
You need to have a decoy box, you you drop that and they all scramble for it and then you got the real one.
It's good. It's not the games aren't there to be revolutionary yet to really, really see the difference. I mean, you really see the difference in load times and seeing, frame rate jumps on some games. Like playing Spider-Man at 60 was, a much better experience in 4K.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know if I'm being patient, but I've kind of stopped trying super hard. I'm signed up for some stock alerts on my phone, and if I get one of them, I get it. But
it's easy to be patient when you can't get something. It's easy to say you're being patient when you can't actually do it.
That's true. I've stopped trying as hard. Once I got the graphics card, I stopped trying as hard to get a PlayStation or a graphics card because I'm like, realistically, I have plenty of games I could play and I'm interested in on the computer, and I've got a great, setup to do it now. And, that's not the thing keeping me from playing a lot of the time. So, it's fine. But Joel, what about you?
I picked up Resident Evil Village. Mm-hmm. It's freaking fantastic. Is it? And I will say it's
sitting on my shelf.
Honestly, one of the most impressive things is literally, so if you're on the PlayStation menu, honestly, you can even be from the PS5 completely off, off. You can turn it on and be in the game within 8 seconds. It loads incredibly fast. I was sitting in the game thinking I was waiting for the logo to come up again or something. And I was in the game with the guy holding the gun. I was just waiting there, expecting text to appear or something. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm in the game. It is legitimately fast. I was like, wow. Yeah. When you see certain PS5 games that have I guess been made specifically for PS5, it's nuts how fast the speed is. So that's been really cool because it's oh yeah, I'll hop in that game because it takes two seconds.
Is Village VR?
It's like a blessing and a curse because
yeah.
you're used to those wait times. So you hit it and you take those 2 steps to get a drink. Oh crap!
Yeah. It's
GTA,
not
you could
VR right now.
Cut the grass and go to the store.
They haven't said anything about VR yet, so because VR hasn't been, I guess, announced yet for PlayStation 5, so I don't know.
But there have been leaked rumors.
So, ooh,
We'll get to
James,
those
were you that link?
in news time.
Which is totally reliable.
Very nice, but it's good.
Oh, dude, it's fantastic. It's really good.
Awesome.
I think one of the so did you play 7?
No.
Seriously?
This one's less. I don't know. It's almost like
Judging.
a montage. It's less full haunted house,
Mhm.
but it has some moments of that. But it's not that the entire time. And so if it's a little bit like I just don't like feeling like that constant sense of dread. You feel a lot more powerful in this one, and the story actually relates to that, which is really, really cool. But dude, I will say, like on PlayStation 5, the controller feedback is just really unique. So, for example, like for the shotgun, like you like pull your left trigger and it'll aim right, Well, for certain, like for a pistol, it has no force feedback on the left trigger, like to aim down sight. But when you pull the right trigger, you can pull it halfway, and then it gets to like a hard part, and then it will click. Right, so it has a cool because I just got unlocked like a 1911, and it's neat how it feels like it. I don't know, it's a little bit more chunkier to hit, so it just it feels more weighty.
It's called take up, Joel.
Okay, yeah,
the pre-staging, yeah, it's called take up.
But then shotguns, the left trigger will actually be tougher to pull, and the right trigger will be harder to pull as well. So it's interesting because it's like I can understand someone who just hates that feedback. You can turn it off. But to me, I think it's a really interesting and immersive experience because like when you pull the shotgun and aim it, you actually are like physically using more exertion to hold that. And then when it gets to the sniper rifle, I mean, like the left trigger is very tough. So it gives more of a sense of like, let's say you were to hold a sniper rifle up, it has weight, it's heavier and you can't hold it as much. So
the controller literally weighs like 50 pounds.
It has weight. But it's neat because when you get upgrades for like a cheek pad and things like that, it becomes easier to control. And I think that's just a cool way of utilizing that force feedback. I think is pretty neat.
I would say it was probably like just experiencing it for the first time. Probably the coolest feature of the system itself is just the controller. Like
with the Astrobot thing.
Yeah, the Astrobot was really cool. Yeah. Like it kind of gives you like a really full breakdown of everything the controller can do. But they had downloaded Fortnite, so I was testing out. And when you switch between weapons, different weapons have different types of resistance. And the first time I tried to pull it, I was like, is the controller stuck? Is it not working?
Yeah, it does. It takes a little getting used to.
It's like the controller broke. I was like, oh crap. But then I realized, oh no, this is like literally how this one trigger is set up compared to this next trigger that's more like just quick pull. It was pretty interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, it makes for like certain shotguns, like for like a double-barreled shotgun, how you have like a click and then a second click. It's neat that the controller can actually simulate that. It can actually have a hard click first and then a second click as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it continues.
Dave,
what are you gonna play? What do you I have to ask this? What are you playing next?
Oh yeah,
me?
Yeah,
James, don't you? I'll just say it. Yeah,
Did you already
I'm gonna
buy
be playing Mass Effect. I'll be playing Mass Effect.
Did you already buy it?
I told James, I was like, oh my gosh, I was listening to Mass Effect
both
ambient
that
music.
and Resident Evil. He said, I'm just gonna wait till we get those later. Played the first one at midnight.
I played Resident Evil at midnight.
And then he's been saying, I'm not going to buy this other one. I'm not going to buy it. And just said like a single video. It's like, oh man. And he starts sending soundtrack stuff. And it's just like, yeah, it's happening tonight.
Did you buy an iMac, Joel, too, about like 10 minutes after the website went live? Are you?
Yeah.
Are you consuming this horror? Is that possibly?
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah. You can say that.
But wait. But
I like how Joel
I haven't gotten a new a desktop computer in like 12 years or however long I had the last one.
Hold on. Let me say something that's in fairness of Joel. He uses the stuff he gets. We'll get to that later in the podcast.
We'll get to that new segment hype. I do love that Joel bought a new iMac and then posted in the chat, was like, guys, is this fast? Tell me if this is fast. Is this going to work?
So I went off based on my uncle who has the MacBook Pro M1 or whatever it was. And he said, he uses it for certain things. And I was like, hey, how does it feel? And then my brother said he's used one before, and he's like, yeah, like Adobe Premiere for editing, it's really fast. You know, again, I'm not going to be gaming on it. I mean, gaming's not really a big thing on Mac anyways. So if I was worrying about that, obviously that would be a problem. But my laptop, I've got a MacBook Pro. I think it's got an Intel, and I don't know what the hell I have in this. It's got tech and shit in it. Oh, it's a 2 gigahertz quad core Intel Core i5
hexaquad.
Did you get a new? You got a new 13-inch when they came out with the better keyboards, right?
Yeah, that's when I upgraded. 16 gigs of RAM. I don't know. Intel Iris plus graphics, blah blah blah. 1500.
That's a fast computer. I have a 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's pretty similar.
I edit everything on this. I mean, even for the last stuff for Norman that we've had to hand off, I've done it on my laptop, and it works great. So anything better than that, it would be nice to have. And I've wanted to be able to have just one centered screen. Like I don't like having double screens, and since I'm kind of past with Norman, I'm selling off the video card. I sold my Dell monitors.
Which card do you have?
GTX 10. I had Dave's 1080, right?
Wait,
I don't think I had
980.
Have you sold that yet?
I don't think so. No, I gave it to my brother to sell because he does really well at selling.
Joel.
What? I'll buy it from you. Talk to me after this.
Do you want it? Okay,
we'll talk later.
I was kind of going there first, Jeremiah.
Oh, if James wants it first, that's okay. Sorry.
Joel, don't forget, this is 2021. There's a shortage on everything right now. You're sitting on solid gold.
I was actually asking in the CSG chat a couple of weeks ago, like, does anyone have a graphics card they're not using?
I would have, but I know you got that latest card, so I don't know why I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I got other uses.
Card would have been something. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But
I will say this, though. I am hoping.
We can fight to the death. It's okay.
I'm trying to get as much as I can for it. But again, because if I sold to you guys, I would not want to sell it what you could get for it. If it doesn't seem like it's going that way, I'd be willing to sell for something less. It's going to go towards the iMac, so the video card.
Got it. Well, we'll talk after.
And my Dell
I don't know if
we'll
haggling over a graphics card is the best content. I'm also planning on playing Mass Effect. I'll talk about that in a minute. But Dave,
did you play the other ones?
All 3.
Okay, nice.
All the way through, and not counting, I played like 10 hours of Andromeda. Dave, what have you been playing?
This is where I start building up my excuses for the down the line segment here.
No, you stick to the content that's on here.
This is what I'm doing. Stay with me. While on vacation, we visited Gettysburg, and I immediately went back to our Airbnb and installed a little independent Gettysburg RTS game that I had bought 7 years ago and played for like 20 minutes. I played hours and hours of it. Super neat little game. I believe it's just called Gettysburg, like General and Commander or something like that. If you look up Gettysburg RTS on Steam, it's a really cool little game that lets you play from either the Confederate or the Union side, but with the exact terrain and troop formations that were in the actual battle, one of the largest ones of the Civil War. And so basically the idea is you have to either, if you're playing on the Union side, like match how they actually move troops on the realistic terrain and win the fight, or on the Confederate side, actually win the fight this time. Apparently I am a terrible general, and I won the first, it's a 4-day battle. I won the first day. I was like, oh, that was awesome. I did pretty well. And it's like Pyrrhic victory. I was like, I'll take it. Turns out you keep your troop amounts from the first day into the second day, and I lost badly on the second day. But yeah, cool little Gettysburg RTS game on Steam. Just look it up. Would recommend if you're into the whole reconstructed battles kind of thing. It was just cool to visit all the locations on Gettysburg and then go back and load up the game, and it's like everything's there with the correct terrain illustrated out. It was cool. Other than that, I haven't been playing a whole lot. We played some of the Arma Vietnam DLC over a week ago now. Had tons of fun in that. It's the Prairie Fire SOG DLC, all in one for your Vietnam experience. No mods required. Would recommend that highly. We started out, it was going to be one mission. We played for like 4.5 hours. We did 3 full missions. Tons of fun. Played some Warzone with Joel and Edgar. Haven't played since March, and wow, we sucked really bad. Really bad. But it was good shenanigans. And this is where my little, what am I playing this week excuses can start lining up. I was determined to play some single player stuff just on my own because I haven't played anything hardly at all since vacation. And after watching Joel stream some of Resident Evil, I was like, oh, I'm definitely downloading the demo and try it. You know, I downloaded like all 70 gigs of the demo and launched it. I had like an hour just for myself. I was going to just play my single player game with my headphones on. Yeah, I launched it and it expired when the full game launched. There's no warning at all.
I'm glad
on the download
that
page.
70 gig download worked though.
Yeah, I was so irritated. Like no warnings on the download whatsoever. And so a few days go by, we did some more Mother's Day stuff, went for a hike. I was like, okay, last night I got another hour. Micah's going down for bed. Hour for single player games. I'm determined before the podcast, single player games. It's time to check out that new RTX version of Metro. I went to go launch it. Turns out, even though I made sure earlier in the day it was patched, the RTX version is a completely separate like SKU and download. Completely separate. And so I had another 80 gig download I was staring at. So I started the download and then I started the download and then just went to bed.
I feel like everything's actually working against you, Dave. So maybe you should be doing something else with your time that's coming up tomorrow.
Oh man. So that's what I've been both playing this week and trying to play this week.
I've been playing. So I've had this problem post Cyberpunk. It's the same thing that happened post Red Dead Redemption 2 and post The Witcher 3. I just don't really want to play anything else single player right now. Like nothing's really been grabbing me. I've been enjoying Warzone with my brother still, and you know I'd like to play it with Dave and Joel if they ever want to, which is it's fine.
So we only play like once every month and a half.
And you start at like 1:30 in the morning, so I wouldn't be awake.
Yeah.
Anyway.
well, Dave was like, "Hey, do you want to play it?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'll play." And I'm like, I won't hear from it. It's like 11:45, and he's like, "All right, we're gonna hop on." I'm like, "Dude, I'm in bed, man." Like,
I do love watching.
I'll make it past that, but
I like watching the Discord chat the morning after. Dave is trying to get everyone together to play some Battlefield. It's like, all right, we're going. Okay, Micah is throwing up all over me and the floor. I'll be back later. Okay, we're going to eat dinner at 10 o'clock at night. 11:30. Who wants to play some Battlefield?
Well, you forgot his nightly run.
Yeah, that is heading towards that time. Actually, I have one more thing to add to my Let's Playing, or what I tried to play this week. Just one more excuse, because this is a good one. I totally forgot about this. I've been editing a Battlefield 5 video all week, and I was like kind of wanting to actually play. And no one else wants to play Battlefield 5 with me, so I was just gonna play by myself. Jesse was watching Micah. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take some time, play some Battlefield. Just me. It's time. Get some clips recorded. It's gonna be fun. I played for like 9 minutes. And then I hear Micah like screaming from the other room, getting a diaper change. I gotta yell for backup. I come running in, just poop everywhere, complete disaster. So my guy in game is literally like, I'm like laying down behind some sandbags. I just ran out of the room. So it ended up being like, it took both of us to get him cleaned up. Jesse had to like change clothes. I had to give Micah a full bath. I get back to my desk.
Ironically, you had a better time.
I got back to my desk an hour and a half later. Of course, it like kicked me for idle 5 minutes later. I closed the game and went to bed. I was like, whatever. This is my
life. We need a section just called Dave's Womp Womps.
But I just laughed so hard. Name from Casual Shenanigans to geriatric gaming shenanigans.
We can try.
So I've been playing.
Sorry.
I haven't been in the mood to play really anything single player related, just because like Cyberpunk.
So I'm into gambling.
But I continue to love Game Pass. Because I can just go on there and look like, hey, there's always, at the rate that I go through games, there's always a couple new games on there. So I started A Plague Tale: Innocence, which is a puzzle stealth game. It is gorgeous. The graphics are very like The Vanishing of Ethan Carter-esque. I don't think I'm going to play the whole thing. I'm not sure how long it is, but the gameplay seems a little bit rudimentary, but the story so far is pretty good. And it's very, very pretty. And then Forza 7, I'm just slowly working my way through all the championships. Compared to when I first started playing Forza, like now I know how to tune suspensions and stuff on cars. So I'll just do like picking one series a night, build a new car for it, put on some podcasts, and then it's just very therapeutic. Just go out racing and work my way through like the 6 or 7 races, tune the car in between each one, tweak it till I can get something handling pretty good by the end. So that's kind of like a good de-stressor. But I am planning on playing Mass Effect. I think I do want to get back into that as like a good next single player experience. I'm going to play through Red Dead Redemption 2 again. I don't think I'm quite ready to do that yet. But Mass Effect, it's been a very, very long time, and I even enjoyed 3. I didn't think it was as good as 2. 2 is definitely one of my favorite games.
The only thing I didn't like about 2 is that they cut down the Citadel like significantly from the first one.
Well, in the first one, I don't have great fond memories of, and I wonder if some of that was I wasn't quite in the right headspace for the type of game that it was. I hadn't done many RPGs or anything.
I think you're going to enjoy it even more this time, honestly.
I hope so, yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that, but that's what I've been playing.
Two felt kind of like a road trip movie because you just went to a lot of different places.
It felt like a heist movie. It felt like an Ocean's 11.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, like...
Dave, have you ever thought about just deleting your games, just letting them go, and then
save
just
it,
starting fresh? You know, because you can always come back. Because Steam has your save, but just like,
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Let those games go. And
sorry. Dude, cancel those games. You would get
so into this. Yeah, you would get so into
Joel,
Mass
we'll
Effect,
get there. We'll get there. Now, for time's sake, I'm going to move this right along. Is there a 90 seconds to Joel this week before we go to the news?
I got nothing.
Okay, it's now time for the news.
News time!
All right, I think the first news item is not mine. A PS5 VR headset, haptic feedback 4K.
Yeah, you like that? Okay, so we got some leak culture here, boys.
I really do like, because I think Joel wanted to talk about this item before Dave announced the main topic. Joel's like, here's some unsubstantiated bullshit.
Well, they have announced the controllers and everything. This seems fairly legit. But the rumors is that it's going to be a 4K headset. But a interesting and very significant thing is what's the term? What is it called? Foveated rendering. And what that is basically is going to have eye tracking. And by doing that, when you can track someone's eyes in VR, you only have to worry about that kind of sphere to render really high quality there, and you can slowly trickle it out less. So on PSVR original, playing Resident Evil 7, when you look straight, they did that, like they can't track your eyes, but generally you're looking kind of where the reticule was in the game. You could see if you looked, if you like peripheral, you can see the graphics slowly get a little bit worse on the edges, but it was nice and clear, and it's awesome because, I mean, again, like with your peripheral, it's very hard to tell. Like, you have to really look at it. And it's hard because when you turn left, you want to turn your head so the camera in the game turns, so you kind of tend to see the good graphics anyways. But if that is true, that's going to be legit because they will be able to hit that 4K or much higher resolution for it because they're not going to have to worry about, doing the entire experience or whatever. But then another feature that is really cool, but also like, oh my gosh, this is going to be terrifying, is force feedback in the helmet. So it's already going to be intense enough with force feedback in your hand.
I don't know about this. This feels bad.
I know, but like imagine like okay, a Star Wars game, you're a stormtrooper or whatever, you get blasted, you feel a little bit in your head, or something like that, or I don't know, like a scary game where something like
where like a bug's crawling on your face.
Oh yeah, something like that. Oh man, that's gonna be scary, but that's interesting. I haven't heard it. I was like, oh, that'll be interesting how they do that. But I thought that was cool, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Hopefully it'll be good. But I am kind of glad I'm not playing this Resident Evil in VR. Last one was very scary.
All right, and then what is the next bit of news?
Was it me again?
Oh. Yes.
Gabe Newell has kind of teased that some Steam games are going to be coming to console. So I don't know what that is, but to me, I mean, it's almost kind of nuts that you've had Half-Life 2, you've had Portal and Portal 2 on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, but they've done nothing with those games, even to just go, hey, they're re-released, you know what I mean? Like, because I mean, they're PC games, like they still look pretty decent. Why have you not released them even on PS4 or those, that gen? So we'll see if they actually release them, but it would be cool if Valve went through and actually polished them up and, they released the orange box or whatever, and it came with all the games or something, So who knows? But I mean, Half-Life Alyx was incredible. It was incredible.
I do want to play that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So to me, I think if PlayStation VR gets a headset again, I might have to go through it again. It was the best VR experience like
Hey, Joel,
It
after
was so
coronavirus, you want to drive to, a town a couple hours away again so we can swear the same headset that 30 other people have been? Does that sound
bro.
fun?
Count me in.
We don't have any mail this week. Write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com to be a part of the show if you want. A weird stranger, I did get your email. That wasn't a read on the podcast one. That was just a other miscellaneous question one. So I'll respond to that. It is now time for the comment of the week, where Dave, before we get to the new segment, has a chance to entertain us all before he entertains us all.
This week, I'd like to present the duality of YouTube and how no matter what, as Joel is now well aware, there are plenty of people that will just never be happy no matter what. But I always love the I'll call them dueling comments, where you get a completely opposite reaction and there's just the only way to win is to not play the game. So I do occasional Battlefield highlight videos, the only in Battlefield moments. And the last couple I'd done for Battlefield 5, one in 2018 and one in 2019, I would just, using Shadowplay, save clips, right? So it's just cool stuff that only happens in Battlefield games. Everybody's played the games. They know that stuff kind of happens, crazy shot, crazy plane crash, all that stuff. I just always did them with my own clips because I play a lot. I'll have clips enough for my own video. There are other people who will do like compilation videos with viewer submissions, right? But to me, I just always played enough where I have my own clips. And to me, that's just how I get them. It's just my own footage. Well, I got a super angry all caps comment on one of my Only in Battlefield videos. I think the 2019 one is all caps. "This is clickbait. All these are just his own clips. Disliked." Like this guy, he wanted that community, set of clips. He wanted to see that group effort. He was so mad that it was all my own footage. But again, to me, that's just how I did it. So keeping that comment in the back of my mind, I finally decided last month, like, you know what? I really should do like a community. Like everybody gets to submit their best moments. I'll put some of mine in there. I spent a ton of time editing like all the music together. It's all the best Battlefield soundtracks. Really happy with the compilation. Everyone's best footage, awesome music. One of the first comments I post, "Oh, wow. Out of ideas? Yeah, go ahead. Rely on your viewers for content." Suck the largest dick. I was so excited to edit that too. It was so much fun. That is the duality of YouTube.
Thank you, Dave. It is now time for a new segment in the show, which we've been extensively preparing for, called Dear God, Dave, Dear God. So, Dave,
can you give that description you gave for it?
Yeah.
Me
or Jeremiah?
The description that Jeremiah gave in the chat a few days ago.
Well, I was driving and not paying attention to defend myself.
Oh, hold up.
Yeah, do you have it?
Yeah, I could scroll back up.
That was really good. Jeremiah had a great zinger because it started out like, oh, this is going to be a kind thing. And then it just ripped a new asshole.
I laughed for like 2 minutes straight.
Dear God, Dave, the part of the show where one of the hosts gets to ask Dave if he's played a game or completed a TV show or literally any of the effing things he said he's working on over the past years. Okay, so Dave will get a chance to respond. He will, but as YouTube royalty right now, he has to sit here and take it as we say, Dear God, Dave. Okay, Dave.
Never use the words YouTube royalty again, please.
I'm sorry, is that not how the Rager wants to be referred to?
Can I quit the podcast now? Is it too late?
You're
Why,
going
your
to...
tendies tingling?
That's not how that works.
Actually, a little bit, yeah.
All right. So, Dave, you'll get a chance to actually respond. But first, you just have to give us short answers to this question, okay? Only the facts. When is the last time you booted these two games that you are actively currently playing? Alien Isolation and Kingdom Come. And unfortunately, Dave knew this segment was coming, so if one of the dates is like Tuesday, we're gonna know why.
I purposely I checked to make sure that the timers would be accurate. So Alien Isolation last played September 10th, 2017.
All right.
Dear God, Dave.
Sorry, my Joel.
No, right here, Dave. Dave,
hold
do
on.
it right
Short
now.
answers.
Right click, delete.
Okay, now
Delete
hold
it
on.
right now.
Short answers.
Yeah, short answers.
First of all, Joel, Alien Isolation has been deleted for a couple of years. It is not installed.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay.
Carrying on.
All right. We retract that, dear God, Dave.
I'm struggling here to actually. Joel, you would be sweating just looking at my Steam list. My favorites list is like 30 games now. It's out of control. Where is?
How many
All
of those are not related to ones that are giving you checks?
Yeah, I found it finally. Kingdom Come Deliverance was right before. Yeah, so it's November. Yeah,
That would
November.
be 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right before Cyberpunk is
Dear
exactly
God,
what it was.
Dave. Dear God.
Right before Cyberpunk.
All right. Now, Dave, you get a chance to respond in any way that you would like.
Okay, here we go. So Alien Isolation, that's been uninstalled for a long time. I'm keeping my save games for the next time that Joel bets me something and I lose and I have to be tortured.
That's
I love
good.
the game, but I will admit
You can
for Alien Isolation,
delete those saves. I free you of that.
for Alien Isolation, I will admit that there is a low chance of me completing it just because that game it's so slow for me. It takes me so long. It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
And he loves it. There's
I
the
love how
smile
Dave
on his
still
face
says
as he's just
low
terrified.
chance. As if that 0.0000001% chance gonna just flare up
No.
out of nowhere. I just got a hankering from playing Alien Isolation. Delete your saves, Dave.
And let's never forget that that's what gave me the great "Could you not?"
Yeah, that is true. It has brought us much joy.
Could you not? Kingdom Come Deliverance is a game that I love. It is one of my favorite RPGs in the last 10 years, but it is a bit of a grind to play because of the way that I play it. It's a big part of it. I made the mistake of exploring the entire map, like literally pixel peeping like I did in Witcher 3, but before I completed the main quest. So I've been doing a lot of retreading in the main quest, and it's a bit of a grind when you've already seen everything. That was my mistake. And then also
man.
I've been stuck in a very slow part of the game. And I also had a main quest glitch that had 4 branches and 3 of
Now
them
that-
glitched for me.
To be fair, that glitch happened like over a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was.
That wasn't like recent last week. Oh, that happened a year and a half.
It was a branch.
It's been fixed.
Let me finish. It was a branching part of the main quest. 4 of the 4 branches, 3 of them completely broke for me. And I had to look up a playthrough for the quest to figure out a secret 4th way to like continue the quest to finally get it going. And what happened was that glitch happened to me right before Red Dead launched at the end of 2018. So I completed the entirety of Red Dead over the next 4 months while I was stuck on that quest. And then it was really hard to come back after getting stuck on a quest.
That's
that
why when I
glitched.
stopped Kingdom Come was I hit a broken quest and I didn't want to reload a save and go back like 2 hours and lose all the stuff I'd worked on, which I realized wouldn't have been
Jeremiah,
that big of a deal. But
it's okay. There's no shame for you because you finish games, almost most of them. Like when you start a game, it's just you generally do. Dave, okay, I'm curious. Dave, have you learned any lesson from the Kingdom Come experience? Not just putting the game down, but like pixel peeping. Have you played much differently from then?
Yeah, I played Cyberpunk differently specifically because of how stuck I got in Kingdom Come. Because what's happened now, I'll also mention this. There's a part in Kingdom Come, a really cool segment where you become a monk, right? But it's an immersive RPG, right? Like you're a monk for a couple hours of gameplay. That is this gameplay segment that I've been in after finally getting that quest working. So it's like 2 really slow parts of the game run after the other. Since getting stuck in Kingdom Come Deliverance, I have beaten the entirety of Red Dead, including like exploring every last thing, like every part of the map explored. I've beaten Mafia. I've beaten Cyberpunk. I've beaten like multiple single player games in that time period, just because the way that I got stuck in Kingdom Come it was just in these really slow sections. But again, here's my adulting excuse here, and I want to be careful here because I know all of you, just the kind of people that we are, we all work really hard and we've always got 20 irons in the fire. That's just how all of us operate. The struggle for me is that for single player games, especially ones that I really enjoy, and I love Kingdom Come. Again, it's one of my all time favorite games.
I don't say. I mean, it's the immersion problem. Like because you need to have that like sanctified time, and I think that's why you play multiplayer games, because you don't have to get as immersed.
it's like
And that's
disposable.
100%
It's time to hang out with friends. It's not
Yeah.
time to game with a capital G.
I love Kingdom Come so much that I would rather not play it for 6 months than play it with Micah watching Mickey Mouse at 90 decibels in the other room. Like, I'd rather just not play.
Maybe Micah would want to play Alien Isolation with you.
Maybe he would actually finish
Mike
it.
is going to finish
he's
Alien
brave.
Isolation before Dave does.
He's a brave boy.
I'm just imagining cold toddler hands grabbing me on my leg when I'm not paying
Dave,
attention.
do you ever feel tied to that? Of just like your level of immersion, you know what I mean? It's like,
okay,
and Dave, you're like, you gotta light a candle, you gotta get a nice
Get the
massage,
bubble bath
you gotta
running.
relax. yeah.
Like, what if the game hasn't been talking to me enough today?
Yeah,
Like, what if
I
I'm
know,
not in the mood?
I need several
no
touches
joke,
during the day before.
My last bits of Witcher 3 when I was exploring all those side areas, every single time I would get my dragon flask and I would get some of the Viking blood, and it was like an immersion experience. I wanted to experience that, and that, again, not acting like I'm busier than anybody else.
No, I mean, we all know you're busy now.
Being a dad too is like just that extra level of like, wow, this is now next to impossible to do.
Finally, someone
And so,
understands.
Is there any way we
All
can
this
free
times
you
Dave is
from
like
that?
10 o'clock, like, hey man, you want to hop on the game? I'm like, dude, I'm dead. Bye.
Like I want to free you from that so that you can enjoy like Mass Effect. Like it is such a game up your alley. Like, and it's not even that long of a game. I mean, it's a good game, but nowhere. You'll finish it before. I mean, Cyberpunk is longer than Mass Effect.
And there's one more final excuse before I talk about how I'm dealing with my issues. And the final layer that is actually unique to me is the fact that I do run a gaming YouTube channel that I do try and treat as work. And so when it comes to things I need to play, like when I got back from vacation, it was like, I'm not going to play Kingdom Come because the Vietnam DLC launches in 3 days and I have early access to it. And I'm going to have fun playing it, but I'm just going to prioritize that because that's content. I'm going to do that first. That's one thing unique for all the games that I'm playing is when I sit down to play something, that's the first decision I make is what can I go ahead and get some stuff recorded with.
So if a company offered you a free key and maybe even paying you per so many viewers, would you play the game? Is that something? I mean, is that what are you dedicated to your work?
What if you could play it? What if you could play it like in 4K? Would that help?
It wouldn't hurt. But I am trying to adapt a little bit to, and again, a big part of that is balancing being a dad and the YouTube stuff. Like those are the two hardest things to balance right now, right? As an example, and this is gonna kind of probably blow Jeremiah's mind here. I have watched almost 4 entire seasons of The Expanse in the last like 40 days.
That is pretty impressive. Isn't that a great show?
It's an amazing show, but you want to know how I'm doing it? I am watching it on my phone
during
on
work
my
hours.
5 days a week. I have probably watched the equivalent of 2 complete seasons on my phone on the couch. At the end of the day, like Micah's going to sleep and I'm tired of sitting at my desk. Like I'll sit on the couch and I'll watch like an episode at half my phone. And like, yeah, the audio is not great. And yeah, I have subtitles on so I can catch everything, which.
Wait, are you not wearing headphones?
No, I'm using the phone audio a lot of the time. See?
Wait. You're watching on your phone. Your TV's on there. It's next to the couch.
I don't have a TV in the office.
The couch in your office. I thought you had the couch in the living room. Okay.
Again, I'm trying, and this is where I'm just trying not to let perfect be the enemy of good for just enjoying some stuff.
Yeah. Yep. I totally appreciate that.
Now that being said, there are still some things like Kingdom Come where I'd rather not play it for six months at a time and just it's going to take me 2 more years to beat it than to completely give up. But I'm going to try.
Now all I'm going to say is
better.
I appreciate and I totally appreciate what you say about like, cuz to me I think Kingdom Come is honestly one of the greatest RPG games like made. It was just so freaking good. But it's just like for that I mean like to me I go like at 6 months because there's going to be a new game, and again you have a YouTube channel. I know you're going to get a popular game and it's going to help you do well for your channel because you're going to want to focus on that makes sense. To me I go like let Battlefield 5 go and just give it a shot with Mass Effect or something, like because And that's what I mean. Like, I know it might be harder for you to do a console game right now. Maybe it's easier in a PC because of Micah, like in different rooms. I don't know how it is, but it's like,
it is 100%.
I don't know if it would be easier to like, hey, I'll put it on console and then I could just keep it in sleep mode. So then if I have like 30 minutes, I can hop on easier as opposed to, I don't know. But whatever it may be, like, let some stuff go and go, yeah, maybe a couple years down the road, you can play Kingdom Come. But you make it sound like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get back to that game. But I'm like, is getting back to the game like 6 to 8 months later? Like, I would just say, like, I'm not gonna play it now, and I hope in a couple years I want to pick it up and just try it again.
There's nothing wrong with him being an absentee father that loves his beloved children once a year during holidays. Sends him
he's like 20 feet away the whole time.
That's what Kingdom Come is. He's the one who he shows up sometimes around holidays. Hey, I remember you.
I'm just in the other room the entire time. But yeah, so that's my summary. Not quite a defense that.
Oh, it's not.
I'm trying to change a little bit, but I am going to be stubborn for some things. There are still going to be some experiences that I'm going to use what little completely solitary focused immersion time I have for those experiences. And I'd rather it be that way for some things.
And I would say, like, if there's some night that, you know, again, you want to play Call of Duty or something like that. And again, we played for an hour and a half. Like, if Micah wasn't bothered, I would rather not play with you that night and have you continue Kingdom Come. Because, like, you're actually not that far from the end. I would say you probably have maybe 12 hours more and you're done. Like, yeah. And for you, I guess that's not as bad. I mean, because you can play a really long game and you can commit to that. But I'm like, 10, 12 hours, let's say you can finish that in a month and a half, you know, whatever, depending when you have time. But like, just maybe get it done and put it behind you and just say it's done.
Get that feeling of accomplishment.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to have two categories of games. Like, I like to have those immersive games, but Joel knows, like, there are these games that you have that you can get in and play for 15 minutes. It still has a good story or whatever, but you don't feel like you have to spend 3 hours to actually get completely immersed. Mm. Like, that was one of the benefits of, like, Kingdoms of Amalur. When I first started playing that, it was just to, like, here's your list of missions. You can do this side quest, and just be done. Like, you know, same thing.
How old were your kids, James, when you were playing that? I'm just curious.
What's that?
How old were your kids when you were playing Kingdoms of Amalur? That was a while ago, wasn't it?
It was Xbox 360.
See, I need to learn from those who have gone before here.
I mean, I still forget their names. And they call me James, but I'm just kidding.
But it's okay because you got 400 hours.
But I got an experience another life that was cool. I'm just kidding. I love my kids, by the way.
I will add one final thing that made me laugh yesterday, because I knew this segment was coming. And so I've been extra aware of my ways the last couple of days. And
you did a little soul searching, like, oh man, they're right. He's like, I'm getting my defense ready. I'm going to tell them this. And holy crap.
It's all true. It's all true.
I'm like in the bathroom with the door locked, just sobbing on the toilet. Yeah, I think it was the day after we had picked this segment. I wanted to launch Fallout New Vegas to, like, look at something on the HUD. I was like, oh, I'll download that real quick and take a look at this HUD thing. And I was like, why can't I find New Vegas in my Steam list? And I realized it was because it was still installed at the top of the list. I haven't played New Vegas since, I think, 2014.
You at least beat that game, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, I reinstalled, DayZ because people were talking about playing it, and it looks like the last time I booted that was October 22nd, 2019, and the last time I booted Arma 3 was November 25th, 2019.
Right before Micah was born.
Right before Micah was born, like, so we've all got some of those in there. That's fair.
So, Dave, I did do a poll, a very scientific poll.
Okay.
And 2 people said you should play Mass Effect. So that's a consensus. So make it happen.
Is it cool if I play it with Mickey Mouse blasting from the other room? Is that loud?
It's
pretty immersive. Cool. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, it's funny. I'd say over the past couple of years, one of the big things I think I've gotten much better at is, I'm a little bit like I'm not as far as you of like, hey, I'm gonna stay committed for that long.
Not as broken
or whatever.
as me.
Like to me, like I would get stressed knowing that like a game is coming out soon, right? Or whatever. And I was really happy that Cyberpunk got delayed at the time, and I was playing through Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I was like really looking forward to it. I played all of the other ones, and I just got to a certain point where I'm like, I enjoy it. Like I actually really did enjoy it, and I was still enjoying it. But I'm just thinking like, you know what? This is not really that different. And I was hoping it was going to get to a point where it felt a lot more different. And I was like,
It doesn't.
It wasn't. And I was like, you know what? I'd like, there's a few other games I'd rather try. And Edgar to message me and he's like, hey, you need to play Resident Evil 2, the remake or whatever. And I never played that. And I just played through Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. And I'm playing 4 on the Switch.
Did you do 0?
Now too. I haven't played 0 yet. No, I need to play it too. I forgot about that. I need to get that. I'm like, I'll probably just get it on Switch. But I was like, instead of playing literally 80 hours of Assassin's Creed over the next 6 months or whatever, because it was kind of like my, like I'll play a little bit of that, then I'll play something else. It's like, no, I'm done. I just deleted it. And I was like, it got to the point where I can just be freed and go, I'm done. Yeah, it probably was a great, because even with the Red Dead Redemption, I really did enjoy it a lot. But I think it got to a point where I was like, this is fun. I'm enjoying it to a degree, but I don't know. I'm just going to push myself to finish it when it's not just like I had like 5 hours left and I wanted to finish out the story. I was like, I have 30 hours left. I was like, I'm not. I'm gonna just move on to it again. I can be okay. It's done. It's not. It wasn't my cup of tea. And so I would say like that would probably be better. But that's what we've been saying for so long. I was like, dude, this is the time, man, to give Mass Effect a shot. Like,
here we go. This is all just a guilt trip for Mass Effect.
That's all it is.
What I want to know is.
Don't worry, this section will have a what movies have you not watched in the future too. So
yeah, I really thought this was going to be more of a burn 'em and get out thing because we were at our time limit for the That's fine. It's fine. It's no
we
big
just
deal.
started to have fun though.
Go
I
ahead.
guess so.
Go ahead.
Second topic.
The real question is, how much of Mass Effect could I have played instead of podcasting? That's the question.
For the last several months,
the menu,
5 hours.
You would have created.
You could have gone through all the games because I haven't been podcasting for several years now.
It hurts because it's true.
Again,
I just watched.
You did not come prepared with a defense tonight.
There is no defense.
The immersion is the defense. The immersion.
No,
that game is
seriously
immersive.
Is. Yeah, I can. Yeah. And that's the same advice I give people when they're just like, like how do you like write a script or work on a project, and it's kind of like it would be so ideal to have that like immersion 3-hour period where you go off into your little cabin and no one speaks to you and it's perfect. You know what I mean?
But that's
it's
not
like,
life.
It's just not. I mean, sometimes it's gonna you'll get that kind of magic hour of it, but yeah, it would be cool to see you experience that because I'm like, oh man, I would finally feel like James when he finally got me to play Knights of the Old Republic, like after like years of trying to get me to play it, and then I did, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so good.
So what you're saying, Joel, is sometimes, even though life's not ideal, you do get that magic hour behind the rusted out car in the dump. And magic just happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes life just lines up and you're like, this is my moment.
If I push for this, I can have it all. Also, I have Xbox Game Pass, and that includes EA Play now, and which means
nice.
I'm about to download Mass Effect Legendary Edition. No additional money. Game Pass is the deal.
I have to focus.
Wait, is that on Game Pass?
Village.
Is that part of
EA Play is part of Game Pass now.
Right, but I didn't know EA Play would carry something that new. I know there's EA Play, and then there's like a higher tier.
EA Play Pro is the one that has it, and that's the one that used to be Origin, Premiere, whatever. That it looks like Game Pass is saying I have it, although the EA desktop beta is not letting me choose where I want to install the game because it's bad. Separate problem. Give game. No.
Well, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good, boys.
It's a good one. All right.
For future reference, based on this conversation and the, conversation going on the chat, I think on a future topic, we should talk about our ideal time game experiences, like when we want to sink 40 hours into a game versus just like really good 6 hour, just start to finish. I'm good. I'm happy. Yeah. I think we should talk through that in the future.
Yeah.
Can we get Eggert on for that as a guest? Because holy crap, when he plays a game that's like a single game, it's done that day or like a day and a half. He's like, have you beaten Resident Evil yet? I was like, dude, I'm like 3 or 4 hours in, baby. I was like, I'm going to be rocking this thing for a month. I'm kind of like taking my time on this. I don't like rushing it completely, but I'll play about an hour and a half each segment where I kind of get one specific good task done. Because it's maybe like, I'd say maybe an 18 to 20 hour game for me probably. So.
I haven't gamed this week.
I had actually one more thing I forgot to mention. Speaking of trying to change my ways, I shifted my gameplay strategy, even as much as I love the game, for Cyberpunk, and it worked well for me. I played it frequently, even when there were distractions and stuff. I saved big story moments for when I knew that I had like a little bit more time to focus, but I just kept going was the main thing. Even playing through when I had COVID. I was playing a bunch when I had COVID, so I was like a little bit spaced out with the brain fog. But I was just looking 158 hours Cyberpunk, and I beat the main story and all of the main side quests, like all the major story related side quests in 158 hours. Just because
so are you done with it?
Last play.
I mean, other than if they like release like DLC or some crap.
I last played it right before vacation, so I don't think I'm quite done yet. I'm not gonna probably do the pixel peeping like I did in Witcher, but I want to at least do all the story side quests because they were all so good. Nice. But I did change my gameplay style, and when I started to do a little too much, I call it pixel peeping, but it's kind of like map peeking, where I'm almost exploring the map like I'm mowing the grass. Like you don't want to miss everything, like back and forth, row by row. When I caught myself starting to do that, like working my way across an area, like, oh, I gotta see everything. I'd be like, okay, no, let's just keep going on the story too. Like, don't get sidetracked. And that's helped me avoid the Kingdom Come syndrome, where I've explored every corner of the forest before I am 2/3 of the way through the story.
All right.
I'm learning.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out and being a part of the show this week. As always, you can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com to be a part of the show. Or you can tweet. If you have any
crippling gaming habits, please email us.
If you want to talk about what's wrong with you, let us know.
Yeah, we've talked enough about Dave.
Or if you want to talk about what's wrong with Dave, you can write in about that.
Yeah.
Be my free therapist.
It's like a Dear John letter. It's just a Dear God Dave letter.
Dear God Dave.
Dear God Dave. Writing with your own Dear God Dave moments, and Dave will put it in his Dear God Dave compilation on YouTube. Thank you all for being a part of the show. And until next time, Dave, what should they do?
Be better than me.